Okay, so now that you saw the process of how I did the sketches, let me show you something extra. Over here, I have the sketch that you guys saw in real time, and you can see me sketching this page right here on the bonus content. This will be a time lapse with just a little bit of voiceover. So you have a real time version, you have the time lapse version. Now, I wanted to give you guys a quick idea of like what's the next step. Like, okay, now you sketched a bunch of spaceships or whatever you need, and where do you go from here? And I think the key important part is to understand that this is a just a little part of the process. So instead of just stopping there, doing some sketches and like going on with your day, moving on to the next piece or anything, what I think people should start doing, or at least what I try to do, is to use it as a part of the development process of a design. So I'll be playing with the sketches while I talk. But the idea is that the sketches, they are just the beginning of this process that you kicked off. So you had an idea and you want to see it through. You want to see it like to completion, and you just start doing pieces and pieces until you find the design that you like. And once you do that, that's when you kind of move on to the next steps of the process in terms of like 3D or anything. But this initial part is literally just a stepping stone. So if you guys are going to use it as something done for a project instead of just like what I do, it's what I do is just sketching like for the sake of it in terms of flowing ideas into the paper. It's also a good way to build social media presence because you don't have to worry about making anything extra finish it so fast. So that's how I do it. But if you are using it to build a project or to create a portfolio or anything, ideally this would be just a little part of the process or the beginning stepping stones of the process. And I wanted to give you an idea of how to move on from there in terms of making your sketches like presentable so that you have something like an action plan after you are done with your sketches. And yeah, basically so you're not just stuck doing them for a while and not moving on. um okay, so let me just see if this is all right. Yeah, this one is a bit I'm just cutting it close to the sketches, like I'm removing any extra material just so that I can control click them whenever I'm selecting it. And my plan here is, first of all, I want to fix the designs a little bit. So if there's anything that I feel like I need to fix on any of these, I'll do that. And then I also want to make them a little bit more cohesive among themselves. So you'll notice that this main drawing has like a nice dark shadow here. I want to add that to the other drawings and make it like a full presentable page. This one will still be the main one, just because it's like the more detailed and biggest one. But I do like this secondary design here. So maybe we'll have something to like, maybe it will be a duo or something like of main designs, and then the other ones will be just filling in the page. Yeah, something like something kind of like this. I'll play with the composition of the page a little bit, but first of all, I want to fix the designs, and I'll take this opportunity to do a little quick design analysis of it, what I think works and what I think doesn't work. And right now, what I think doesn't work is that I ended up doing like similar proportions here. So everything has a similar proportion. So what I want to do is I want to actually want some pieces of this drawing, just a tiny bit, just so we have a better proportions to work with. I'll extend the top portion, and then I'm using a marker here, like a pen marker. Like I have the pen brush and I have a marker brush to do the marker sketch lines. But basically, the idea is to use something that is like not too jarring to look at when it comes to the difference between both kind of markers. And when it comes to the digital one, like no one will notice this. Like it's so small and no one really cares about it. So this is part one. I want to make the top portion a little bit longer. Let me actually move this as well, because I don't want that. And I also want one thing that I thought would be cool is to kind of end this bottom portion a lot earlier, just so we have more of the engine exposed. So again, for the sake of keeping the drawing as original as possible, I'll just cut and drag things. So that I can expose this engine a lot more. That's kind of like the goal here. So that the engine is actually like the medium portion of the big, medium, and small part. And like these lines kind of suck now, so just erase them, throw in a nice little line there. And you can see like we lose a lot of the grain of the paper and everything when you do digital. But at this part of the process, I don't really care anymore. I just want it to kind of look similar so that like the details kind of match and to be too much about it. Actually, let me grab the original one as well, just so we have something to compare to. So we can actually see if we are improving the design or not. So yeah, I think starting to look a little bit better. Still, I feel like this portion is way too big. So I want to. Now I'm just transforming it like in the jankiest way possible. But it will survive that, so that's fine. So creating some space down there. This is a little bit of a warmer color. One thing that I didn't do, I didn't like round it off all of these edges here. So I kind of want to bring that roundness of the front here down in the back as well. And I'll only do this like design fixing portion, I think, for the main one, because the other ones they were already kind of nice, and because they are smaller and they're more thumbnail like drawings, it doesn't really matter that much. It's more about the idea. But for this one that I thought I would do something a little bit bigger, and also more presentable. I feel like it's worthwhile to do that. Something that is bugging me as well is like how even though we are fixing this top portion is already kind of nice compared to the other ones, but these two are still a little bit similar. So I want to expand the engine somewhat, and I'll just expand the engine bay. I'm not particularly big fan of this winglet that I added, so let's just erase that and do something here. So maybe we can this engine bay. And just for the sake of it, what I will do is I want to be I still want to be mindful and fast about the process. So I don't want to like waste time. So I want to copy some of those details and just carry them over. And because everything that I'm using here is cool values on the engine, I want to bring those cool values as well to this portion. Because that's what will make it look as if it's actually a similar part. It's if the color and tone and values are matching. So we don't actually need to see a lot of the detail there. We just need to see like the graphic block out. And this process can take like a long time if you're working on the design and you are like fixing everything that you can and making it as cool as possible. I feel like this part of the process can take a long time, but for this tutorial, we are just fixing it a little bit, making sure that the key issues that we noticed after scanning the drawing, after like looking at it with rested eyes, that at least those are getting fixed. And then like the rest we can live with it. And in a project workflow, those other details would probably get fixed as you move to the steps of the project. So you don't need to make sure that everything works perfectly well at this stage. It's just that some main things could be better. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of these vents as well. Let me see. This is also a good moment to experiment, you know. So I kind of I'm not like super sure about these front air intakes because I think they are placed in a weird way. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of like erase them a little bit. I'll use the smudge tool to bring in the values because I was having a difficult time finding the proper value so that these are just not there anymore. And then I want to experiment with some things. I'll see if like maybe this works. This might be a good idea. Um, so what I want is I want to create a different section here. I want to like bring this out and do them extruding out of the shape. And they will give a nice silhouette to the other side as well. And because this is all being curved, we don't need to worry too much about the how it will look on the other side. Just need to worry about like what we're doing here. And then on the other side, we can just pseudo fake it with like a darker line there and doing some of that value work. So you know, like it's part of everything here. Yeah, now it's starting to work a little bit better. I think this looks better. I might be wrong, but I've been known to make mistakes. But I think this is a better design solution than that weird little smushed on design down there. Now let me just align this here so it is actually coming from the bottom there. Just to make sure that it's a little bit more squared off. So, yeah, this definitely feels a little bit better. Just because it gives it more breathing room, you know? So you don't feel like everything's cramped down in the front. And if you're still feeling like you miss a detail here and there, you can always just add them back with lines. So yeah. So we come from this, which is like weird proportions, super cramped design in the front, to this, which is feeling a lot better. And now I want to actually carry over that line. Let's wrap this up. I just want to bring that design line down here. And I feel like this works a lot better. But yeah, I want you guys to understand that everything here, it's for the sake of the design. So everything that we do is just part of the design process. And the idea is that as you move through the stages, as you continue to develop your ideas, they will still be just one extra part of the design process. So you're not really getting caught up into the finer details too soon, or you're not super attached to your design to the point where you don't fix something that you know is a mistake. And we all have been victims of that. We all have been guilty of uh, kind of being lazy and leaving something that we know could be better on our designs. You always say like, "Ah, yeah, I'll fix on the next one," and then the next design comes up, and you still repeat the same mistakes. But that's because we are practicing. Like everything that we do is a practice, and if you get caught into the idea that you will fix on the next one and then the next one, the truth is the next one never comes. You are always doing like similar designs, and we are always getting caught into the our bad habits. And if you build that bad habit of not pushing it to the best of your current ability, then that's a slippery slope. Okay, so now we have this design here, which in my eyes, at least for right now, is a lot better. Let me actually do something real quick. Uh, I'll change this, and I'll also I just want to block it to be a part of the engine bay there. So this, let me try something out. Yeah, I think I'll do this. I'll extend a cover from here. So this, and it will, this. Now we don't feel like there's anything popping out there, as if there wasn't any space for extra things. Yeah, that's feeling better. Anyways, let me just continue with the page here. Now, I might just make it everything black and white. I'm not sure if I love this. Yeah, I think I'll commit to doing it. It will just make my life a lot easier. And I feel like the idea will be more presentable as well. If we change our minds, we can change it later on. Now, what I want to do is do that little dark shadow now. Now, instead of going pure black, you'll see like I'm picking up the value from this marker here because you'll notice that it's not super perfect. So I don't want it to be like, I want it to still feel like it was all done correctly and like in the first time and whatever, and they're all belonging to the same page and everything. So even though like if you zoom in, you'll see the digital areas, I kind of like the feeling of this incomplete marker, like the faded marker here. So I want to do this similar thing here for the top one. And I'll just quickly sketch the line there. Just move down from the wings. They kind of go a little bit towards the center. Like they kind of go back a little bit in space. So I'll just sketch that out, erase the rest of it, and right on the center is where I'll do my center line. And you'll see like it's not super perfect and pristine. It's literally just me sketching a roughed out shadow just so everything matches in style. And here we know that on the center we have this little bubbly shape that comes from the sides here. So that line there needs to stop at the end of these rounded edges. It's like I kind of overextended it a little bit more. And here you can just bake it a little bit, cover part of your sketch. We just want the bottom part to be touching the shadow. It will highlight the bottom edge of the spaceship and give it a nice silhouette there, as if it's almost touching the ground and everything. And this portion here, our cockpit extends out from the center as well, and it's a little bit more pointy. So, two. sketching on the wrong layer. So I'll just merge both of them and then take one out. No biggie. Okay, this one, this one. For these two, since they are like the secondary drawings, I would literally just sketch a quick one underneath. And the reason why they are secondaries is because I don't like the designs quite as much. There's nothing particularly wrong with them. I feel like at a certain point is more of a preference thing. Because like this one is a little, it is a more um, classical jet kind of airplane. You can see the engines on the side of it and everything. So it's really like not that creative, I guess. And from the front view, like this thing kind of look like this, you know, with the engine on the side, with the wings on the side. So I thought it wouldn't be like super nice, but pear shaped airplane. Similar thing for this one. It is this one was starting to get there due to the proportions of the cockpit to the body, but at the same time, it wasn't super nice. If I'm not mistaken, I sketched this one first of all. Yeah, you guys will be able to see it on the time lapse video, but I wasn't like super a big fan of it. I just thought it was cool, like this top idea here. Like if you just cut this portion of it, like here, this has potential, and like this is not too bad, you know, the air intake there, but it wasn't worth pursuing that. So yeah, I just want to finish this shadow here. Yeah, good enough. Now we just need to do the painstaking process of making it all fit nicely within a page. And I always feel like this is one of the longest parts of the process. Of course, it's way easier if you're doing it like all at once on your sketchbook and you don't have a lot to play with. And they are all like you kind of when you are doing it on the sketchbook, you kind of have to fit them in a particular space. Like that's kind of nice. But I feel like in digital, because we have so much freedom, we tend to not adjust our designs to the idea of like filling up the page as much. So it just makes this particular part way, way, way harder than it is on a typical drawing page. To be honest, I kind of like I quite had previously where this one was sitting lower and this one was sitting here. I think this will work nicely. Try something out just to see how that looks. Sucks. So I'll just have it be smaller up there. For this one, what I'll actually do is I'll erase some of this shadow just so it's not too close there. And same deal for the bottom. Actually, let me do something to work. Too much. I'll still erase part of the shadow and maybe make it that bit smaller. Yeah, I feel like this is nice. Another thing that is bugging me, like on the main one, is that the shadow is too close to the edge there, so I just extend it. Cool. Okay, so yeah, this is the final page with all of them. Let me, because I've been painting on the wrong one forever, let me just merge all of them now. Another thing that would be cool is to just add another. See if it will be all right. And I want to see if making them pop out of the page will work. And then if it doesn't, we just delete these and move on. Okay, here's what I'll do. I'll make this a bit lighter, even a bit lighter. Oops. Okay. Yeah, I'll sketch with. Okay, sketch all of them. I'll probably make the cockpit darker than the body, and also I'll throw in some quick lighting and perhaps darken the engine bay areas, just so I have like a quick, actually, graphic block out. I thought this was going to be a little bit quicker, but it's fine as well. You guys get to see the real thinking process. So the drawing is a bit dirtier than the ones that I tend to do digitally, and I'm intentionally not worrying too much about making it like super pristine, because if you do that with a traditional drawing, it starts to look too digital, so you kind of lose the whole point of it. What is beautiful about the traditional drawing is the markers are not like super 100% perfect all the time. The paper grain is showing up. You kind of, the paper bleeds a little bit if you add too much ink. So what you want to do, it's if you want to keep that feeling, which is why I feel like rough sketches on even on digital media, they tend to do a lot better in terms of the public's response. I feel like that's due to the fact that we are kind of like letting our brains do a lot of the lifting. Like we are seeing those mistakes as if almost as if they are detail added to the drawing, and that means that like not everything is solved for us. Yeah, it's starting to look nice actually. So I want to keep that feeling, especially on when I'm bringing on traditional drawings. Like this is the real point of all of it, is to just, if you're doing traditional, right, is to bring that feeling of pen over paper, and to remove that would be kind of like just a waste of time. I would rather do it entirely digitally if we're going to do that anyways. So this is for the, now for the cockpit, let me do it a little bit darker. I think I'll use a similar value to the engine bay. And what I'm thinking is that I'll add a mask for some graphic lines here. And then one thing that will not be traditional at all, maybe a color dodge layer to bring up some highlights. Because we kind of have the shadow look already with the markers that we did traditionally on the paper. Like we have a small little rendering. So maybe it's worthwhile to leave that as the dark parts and to 1 full swoop. Okay, and then I wanted this line to also be a little bit darker. Yeah, now we are blocking values. Like this starts to look nice. And the way that I like to think about it, it's creating shapes that are similar throughout the design. Kind of one here. Okay, for this one, a similar deal. Engine. For this one, I actually want to have. This will look cool. I want to have this line here, and I'll echo it with a lighter line down the road, because I want to add a mask to this, and kind of block this entire area here. That will look nice. Bottom one can have like one big line there, right, all the way to the front, and then the engine intakes there. Actually, let me do the tip here, the tip there, and we'll do a similar thing here where we erase. You see, like things start to work um to work out well. It's all a matter of like how much time you're putting into it, and I find that the more time and care that you put, the nicer things look. So I wouldn't rush this process. Unless like again the goal is to do like something quick, to have some practice and to not really worry too much, then it's fine. I feel like, yeah, when I do these for my sketchbook only and I know like they're not part of a bigger project or anything, I literally couldn't care less. I just do like whatever feels good at that moment, and if it doesn't work out, then I carry it over for the next design and so on and so forth. So usually the way that a sketchbook looks like, it's that the process is created throughout multiple designs, like the progress. But if we're going to like if you're using your sketchbook to generate ideas that you actually want to present, I feel like this is a good way to do it. You keep developing those particular designs until you feel like you achieved something cool and that you have something to present. Let me see if this works. Cool. Big fan of that note. Yeah, third tip there, third tip there. Cool. Now our color dodge layer. I like to use it with a brush that has some noise on it, just so it's not super clean. Let me see something here. I'll add some scratches as well, just so it doesn't look super pristine. We do one thing at a time. Okay. Uh, this brush here is different. It's literally the same round one that we were using. I just squeezed it to be a ellipse. And what that allows me to do is to like bring these longer reflections, which just makes life easier whenever we're doing like these stretched reflections. So it doesn't really make a huge difference. It's just those time saving portions of the process that if we're doing this 100 times, after a while kind of get bored with it and you need to just make your own life easier and not worry too much about the anything else. So instead of picking the brush and adjusting it every time, you just create a new one. And you'll notice that even though I didn't quite like the center two ideas, I still want them to be on the same level of finish as the other two. So that's what I meant when I said like a little bit of care um, goes a long way. This is all of that care, you know. It's the details, no. It's you showing that you enjoy the process, taking everything to a similar level of finish, making sure that it's all looking good, and that let's assume that you would present this to someone, that any idea that they pick would actually look cool for them. Now, I made them smaller just so I can distance them. And unfortunately, what that means is that I will have to move like multiple layers. Yeah, I just want to distance these two. It was indeed too close, so yeah, I feel like now we'll have more breathing room. So yeah, but this was the tutorial. This is the final chapter. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you got something out of it. If you did, let me know, and I'll make sure to produce more of this kind of content. If there's anything that you feel like I could improve while doing this, also let me know. The idea is that I'll start doing a lot more of these from now on. So if there's anything that you want to see me doing, like anything that you would like to know, anything that I didn't cover on this one, just yeah, I'll try to do that. And make sure that you watch the bonus content. I know it's set as bonus, but there's also a voiceover for it. And over there, I'm answering the questions that you guys had from Instagram. So yeah, some people send over questions, and I just thought it would be nicer to answer them on a video that is a little bit sped up and not so boring that I have to like sleep while you hear me blabber about for like 2 hours straight. So yeah, I'll wrap this up. Maybe like darken some outlines here and there. And cool. So I'll see you guys around. Bye.